𝗪𝗂𝗡 people hate Wim Hof. Wim Hof hates...
Way of Will John.
Welcome back. Why don't you give us the short intro to who you are?
I am a science journalist and author of a book called Breath, the New Science of Lost Arts. Been a journalist for a long time. That book came out a few years ago. I'm still talking about it on occasion, working on a new book, and that's me in a nutshell.
You've had such a massive effect as the world has rediscovered, or as you've tilted, some of the Western minds towards breath and the benefits of it. And so I read your book during COVID, but point being, it had a massive effect on me. It changed a lot of the stuff, and there's huge links to sports and all this other stuff that is, going on. You told me to hook up with Anders Olsen, who is somebody that you used in the book to, do some testing and really to get in yourself. I went to Anders. I trained with him there. And so I guess my first question kind of comes on, what have you learned in these years since you've written the book? What is the new stuff that you're putting forth towards people now that you really understand this?
The top three things that I've learned about is, one of them is breathing dysfunction for kids, something called sleep disordered breathing. A huge percentage of kids has sleep problems. And a huge percentage of kids, up to 10% of the U.S. population, has something called ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Who knew? But that is directly tied to breathing, specifically breathing at night. And we've been treating these kids in the wrong way. We've been treating them as though they have a neurological condition. So we give them drugs to try to blunt certain patterns in their brains or wake them up in the daytime and put them to sleep at night. And it turns out that is not very effective at all. Breathing, ADHD, who knew? It turns out a lot of people knew, and a lot of people aren't talking about this, so I'm trying to get that word out. I guess another thing I've learned about, I'll just give you two because I realize I'm dragging on too long here, is carbon dioxide in the indoor environment is becoming very injurious to our health. As you know, carbon dioxide in the body, we have to have a balance of CO2 and O2 in the body for it to work well, but too much CO2 in the indoor environment is so bad, and it turns out that most indoor environments are registering toxic levels. So I'll leave you with those two little nuggets.
WayofWillJohn.com, exclusive content and programs on manifestation, making money, hidden knowledge. Finally, reach your full potential. What would you suggest for someone who just wants to get started? I love getting people on the path of doing this.
So beyond the new stuff that I just bored you all with, the very first thing, if you're new to this stuff, is I would take your hand, take the palm of your hand, place it over your belly button, and when you breathe in, when you inhale, you should be feeling a slight expansion of that area, not just in the belly, but on the sides as well. If that is not happening for you, you are breathing incorrectly and you're doing your body no favors. So when you inhale, an expansion. When you exhale, a contraction. Most people do this the opposite because they're very self-conscious about their waist. So if you don't have that proper biomechanics, nothing's going to work out right for you, especially if you're an athlete.
We discussed taping your mouth last time. And since then there's been a company that's approached us called Hostage Tape. And they have, just a kind of a cool type of thing. I always wanted to ask, what's the point of doing it while you sleep? If you're a habitual mouth breather, are you destroying your body while you sleep? What's the point?
Yeah, so you are exposing yourself to allergens in the environment. You're making yourself more susceptible to respiratory problems. You're getting less oxygen. You're stressing your body out when you're constantly breathing through the mouth, especially at night. So a lot of people say, well, how do I nasal breathe at night? And one way that works for some people is to place a little piece of tape on their mouth. You mentioned Hostage Tape. There's so many different products right now. Good old Hostage Tape, they're contacting everybody, and they got a bit of a cease and desist from my team, starting to use a lot of images of me. To be clear, I do not sponsor anyone. I get no money from any products ever. And so if you see my image next to a product, I have nothing to do with that. But the concept is right on. And I think what they're doing, they're on a good mission, right? Their tactics are a little too aggressive for my blood. But anyway, the point is to keep your mouth shut at night. So why do you want to keep your mouth shut at night? For all those things I just mentioned. You want to be able to be breathing in and out of your nose all the time. This can dramatically improve your sleep. It can improve your snoring. It can help even decrease sleep apnea. So if you don't believe me, you can try it out yourself. Again, I want to be clear. This is not for everybody. So it works for some people. It doesn't work for others.
Because we're talking about sleep now, when one wakes up, we live in the world now of morning routines, James. You have to have a good morning routine. You have to do everything. You got to have yoga and the right coffee, and you got to breathe. You got to do all this stuff. Do you have a morning routine? That's my first question. And if you do, does it incorporate any breathing at all?
I wish I had the luxury of having a sacred morning routine that I followed all the time. I don't. I live a crazy, insane, stressful modern life, just like so many other people. I take care of business in the morning. I try to at least 4 days a week, try to do a workout, some capacity. But the neat thing about breathing is that once you learn how to do it, it becomes your default habit. You don't have to consciously think about it. So the most impactful breathing you can do for yourself isn't to sit for 10 minutes and do some vigorous pranayama and then go back to mouth breathing. It's to breathe healthy throughout the day. And this is something that a lot of people don't acknowledge and don't want to do because it's much less sexy than to, don on a robe and surround yourself with some incense and, sit in a corner. And I'm sure that works for a lot of people, and that's great. But it's so much more important how you're breathing throughout the night and throughout the day than it is for those 10 minutes there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the case that I've noticed. Your habitual actions are the things that are going to make up your life, not your 1 second of reading a self-help book or 1 second of working out every month, And on the flip side, that's also important just on my end because we get people all the time, kids asking, is it too late for me to become a pro and stuff like this? And I'll ask them what they're doing to train, and they'll go train really hard for 1 day or 2 days, and then they'll spend the rest of the day doing shit on the couch, doing nothing, right? And that's not going to do it. It's not going to cut it, right? And so, it's cool to see the same principle there. There's a question I've wanted to throw your way since we've been trying to sort out an interview. Wim Hof has become a massive name in the world of breathwork and things. We've had on 2 other guests that were within the field that you are, who felt that the explicitly actual, not that Wim Hof was by any means a negative or having a negative effect, but that the Wim Hof method, the one of inhaling and exhaling quickly and then, holding your breath on the exhale, activating the adrenaline, should I say. 2 guests came on and said they don't feel that that's good. They think that it's helpful and it can do some things, but they think that it can actually have a harmful effect. Clearly, I know you're not necessarily the world be-all, end-all expert on this, but have you heard that at all?
I hear all kinds of things from everybody. Everyone's got an opinion, and that's great. What it comes down to is common sense and what's right for you. I know Whim. He's an amazing guy. He's inspired millions and millions of people around the world to take control of their health. And he has helped reverse autoimmune diseases, asthma, depression, help people lose more weight. So what he has done for the people who subscribe to his system is he has completely transformed their life. He has given them the thing they needed in order to heal themselves. Is Wim Hof's method right for everybody? Of course not. So use common sense. If you don't think it's taking you to the place you want to go, then don't do it. Just stop doing it. This is the stuff that kind of infuriates me. And to make these blanket comments that all people will benefit from Wim Hof method or no one will benefit from Wim Hof method, it's just not true. Everybody's different and they're coming into life with different needs at different times. So I just think that kind of information isn't helping anything out.
It doesn't sell clicks, though, James. We have to have one side or the other.
Oh, I know.
You either have
I know. And this is why no one wants to hear this, because people want a guru, right? And they want to be told what to do, and they want to follow in one direction. And that's great. But what I'm trying to say to people is try a bunch of different things. Try them out, see how they work for you, measure your progress, and then follow the path that's right for you. For some 𝗪𝗂𝗀𝗃 people, absolutely, 𝗪𝗂𝗃𝗃 is this form of very slow, very slight breathing, right? Where you build up your CO2, and it's massively beneficial, especially for people with asthma and anxiety. It's the exact opposite of the Wim Hof method. So 𝗪𝗂𝗃𝗃 people hate Wim Hof hates 𝗪𝗂𝗃𝗃. And again, it's just becoming some political bullshit, which I'm just losing tolerance for. There's a bunch of different foods you can eat. All those different foods can work for different people at different times, and it's the same thing with breathing.
One of the most important things that I have learned interviewing all of these high-performance leaders is that clarity of mind is crucial to your success. And what good is clarity of mind without clarity of sound? Which is why today's podcast is sponsored by Rode. We across 𝗪𝗟𝗋𝗻𝗄 use exclusively Rode audio equipment in order to do all of our stuff. If you are an influencer, if you're just a person out there trying to make some good content for your stuff at home, wherever it is, Rode is by far the best audio partner we have ever had. We have been using their stuff for almost 5 years now. Has never let us down. Truly incredible company, especially with all of the other affordable things that you guys can get from them. Check out the link right down below and enjoy the rest of this podcast.
What's your mission with all of this? Because you do retreats, you do speeches. I've seen them in person myself. What's the overarching goal?
Well, this is going to be grossly disappointing for you as well. I have no mission. I never set out to have a mission. My goal as a journalist was to put out a book that might be helpful for people, right? And I had no idea this book was going to do anything. I mean, you publish a book, and in the whole vagaries of publishing, like books sink or they swim, or sometimes they hit right in the middle. You think your mom and your friends are going to read it, and that's it. So this has been a complete trip, and something I was not prepared for, professionally, emotionally, mentally. So that's something I'm trying to get my head around, and things are starting to calm down a bit more for me, because where I'm most happy, believe it or not, is just left alone in a library, quietly working and writing. And that's what I've been doing lately, and I love it. It's refueling me. So as far as the other speeches and retreats, those came out of hearing so many people asking the same questions you're asking. Where do I start? What do I do? Like, I need help. What can you do for me? And after so many years, I did not see any retreats answering that question, because the retreats you sign up to are all Wim Hof, they're all 𝗪𝗂𝗃𝗃, or they're all pranayama. And I thought, all of these different methods work for different people. What if we had each day dedicated to one of these methods where you can just go super deep into it? Then at the end of it, you know the path you should take. And you have this foundation of what proper breathing, proper biomechanics are. And so that's what we started doing. It was a complete experiment. It was a complete freaking disaster for a couple of years, financially and otherwise. But I saw sort of the promise. I saw these people coming in, and I saw them leaving, and we were making them into complete monsters. So I kept with it, and now we're hopefully going to do more of them. But it's very much a side gig for me. It's not something I'm doing for the rest of my life. It's just something that I'm able to see all of this stuff I talk about happen in real time and see the effects, and it inspires me to keep talking about it all.
What books have had the most effect on you and your life in shaping how you live and what you do?
You're going to hate this response as well, but as an author, I don't really read books. I don't have time to read books other than for research. All day long for 8-9 hours a day, I'm researching, reading god-awful books, looking for information. So it's very rare that I will sit down and read a book cover to cover, especially for enjoyment or self-improvement, because at the end of the day, I've been reading all day long and I just want to chill. I'll listen to music. I'll hang out with my dog. I'll go for a walk. So I can talk about stuff that, all the classic stuff influenced me early on. Reading real journalists, going out into the world and trying to answer questions that they weren't supposed to answer. I think those are the books that have really made an impact on me professionally, but personally, I wish I had more time to do that. I just don't.
So then, is this a good segue into knowing what you're digging your brain into for 8 to 9 hours for the next?
Yeah, we talk about it a little bit. I never talk about my stuff when I'm in the middle of it. And the reason is I've done that before. And then the thing that it ends up being is different from the thing that you had talked about. So people get pretty disappointed by that. But it's under the general umbrella of something that we have completely misunderstood for a long time and that are starting to reevaluate and appreciate now. So I guess the one specific I'll give you is it has absolutely nothing to do with breathing. Zero. Everyone's like, when's Breath 2 coming out? I said, never. I'm never going to write it. I have one book on breathing. That is it. So I'm moving on to a different direction.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. It's great to keep that kind of a cocoon of your work. I do the same thing, definitely, for sure, when we have plans on big projects. And I can imagine, Breath 2 isn't coming out. But you never know, James.
No, not going to happen. Not going to happen from me. You can write it. Anders can write it. Someone else can write it.
I will write it. I will write it. I will write Breath 2. Okay. You come write the preface or the foreword or however it's done.
Beautiful.
And
Love
then
that.
We'll see if we can do the Breath film. See if we can get Breath film going.
There you go. That is, we got a little something going on with that as well. So that's something in pre-production. Okay. Trying to get this out to other people in a different way, and we're taking a completely different approach where this will be accessible for everyone everywhere, which is another question I get from so many different people is they're like, where do I start? What do I do? What do my kids do? What do I do if I have asthma? What if I do? And people aren't getting these answers anywhere. And so we're trying to put together, actually we're actively putting together a new project that can answer those questions for them.
Okay, I have two last questions. You just asked, since people are saying that. Do you feel that you've essentially given the listener the where to start, what to do idea? If you could summarize that, meaning, stop this, cut this breathing out, then what?
So let's start with that hand thing, right? Take your hand. If you don't have this down, then forget all the other stuff. This is the number one thing you need to do, okay? And I've changed my script saying you have to breathe through your nose first. You have to get proper biomechanics down. And this can take people weeks and weeks to do because everyone's so nervous that they're not going to have rock hard abs, that their waist is going to be expanded. You are going to destroy your health if you are not breathing properly, okay? So inhaling, gentle expansion, loosen up the gut. Exhaling, contracts just a little bit. After that, let's work on some other things. Let's look at nasal breathing and mouth breathing. You have to be a nasal breather. Okay, that's just how it is. A lot of people have structural problems. They have congestion problems. They have other issues, but you have to figure out those problems. There's no blanket prescription, but you have to be able to easily breathe in and easily exhale through your nose all the time. After that, you can get into breathing slowly and rhythmically. So it's not that hard, everyone. I told you all that in 42 seconds, but it's much harder to put into practice than it is to talk about it. So you have to take control of your own breathing and your own health in order to figure these things out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as always, the theory is perfect and the practice is the hard part. An app. What are your thoughts on all the apps? Is there ever going to be a Breathe app?
The apps are great, right? There's so many of them. There's dozens of them. They send me their apps all the time, and they all do the same thing. Breathe in. Watch the bubble get bigger. Now breathe out. The bubble gets smaller. Super helpful for a lot of people. Some people need those training wheels. Our ancestors didn't need that stuff, right? The most important thing is just to train your mind. Maybe close your eyes and breathe into a sound. And then once you get that, make it a habit. What I don't like about the apps is people just click through the practices. Oh, I'm going to do 4-7-8. Oh, I'm going to do coherent breathing. Oh, I'm going to do box breathing. Yeah, I feel good. Really own one of those practices for a while, for a couple of weeks. Just do one practice, a couple of weeks, till your body knows how to do it automatically. Then you can move on to the next one. So it's not that hard. And I don't think it's a super good idea to have people staring at their phones all the time when you don't need to do that. You can listen to your brain and listen to your lungs and listen to your body.
Very much agreed. Last question with 30 seconds or so. What, essentially, would you tell a younger James or a younger person in college coming out in order to lead a successful life and pursue the things that they want rather than be fearful of the world or stay in their comfort zone? Because you don't strike me as a person who does that.
First thing I would do is do not major in the liberal arts like I did. What you will learn there are ways to write that no one else cares about. You have to unlearn all of this stuff in order to learn your skill to communicate to the general public. Reading books, studying literature, studying film history and all that, super important and good for your brain. Do that in your spare time. And make sure if you're going to college that you have one little skill in one little niche area that will allow you to be able to have enough funds so that you can pursue your dream job on the side of that, if that makes any sense. So you're not working crappy jobs like I did for super long and just struggling to find any time to pursue your dream job, when my dream job is what I'm doing right now. So it took me a very long time, and I made all the wrong choices along the way, and I wish I could fix that. So that's what I would recommend to kids. How depressing is that? You know? Next time on, I'll come up with something much more inspiring, but I believe what I said, but damn, I'm listening to myself sound like a cranky, depressing old man.
No, we learn from the best. That's how it is. It's great advice. Listen, thanks as always. I know you got to bounce. We will have to have you back on when the new secret project is up and running. And yeah, as always, appreciate the time.
I would love that. I would love to come back on. We'll have more time next time. Good luck, everybody. Breathe well.
All right. See ya.